Now it's better.
No, were we muted again?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that again and pretend like nothing happened.
Can you do it again?
Okay. Welcome to Coding After Work. This time with sound.
This time with sound, yeah.
We do that sometimes. Add sound to our streams. I think it makes for a better stream.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Let's continue doing that then.
What are we doing today?
So what are we doing today? Well,
or what has happened since last time?
Let's start with talking a little bit about some of the things that will happen. Not on the stream though, but later on.
But kind of.
So we are both speaking at MS Dev Summit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of awesome speakers.
Online event, free. We have a bunch of friends speaking there as well.
Yeah. Kind of a nice homepage. We know Alex,
I'm feeling blue.
Danny, Daniel.
Yeah.
And there's even more speakers in here.
And also secret hackers. They don't look like I remember them.
Hey, there I am. There you are.
Look at that. Yeah, and that's on the December 10th.
Yes.
So
sign up. It's free, apparently.
Yeah, it seems to be free. At least it says free. It says free on the first page. But I did have to use automatic translation in the browser, though, because the English page seems to be down currently.
And I'm going to talk about Blazor. And you were going to talk about?
UX. And a little accessibility.
Oh.
But we also have other things. Yes. We have talked about .NET Frontend Days before, but yesterday, no, actually it was 2 days ago, we closed Call for Papers. So now, Daniel, you and I are going to start trying to pick the best sessions for the day. And that will be interesting because there's a lot of good content and a lot of good speakers. So that will... I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also not because there's so many good sessions.
Because we have to say no to sessions that we want to have.
Yeah.
Basically. We only have 8 sessions
to fill 8 slots, So if you're interested in .NET and front-end, sign up. It's free. And it's in February.
Now, we haven't set any sessions, but I can promise. I'm gonna put
what
my
are you promising?
Here.
Daniel and I might not be on board.
There is going to be Blazor content.
Okay, yes. He's right.
And
there is.
Probably, again, putting down my foot, Maui. .NET Maui.
I'm pretty sure.
What it's not going to be is... No, can't promise that.
Oh, don't go there. You have such a beef with JavaScript. And I feel...
I didn't say JavaScript.
Well,
I just said...
I heard your... I heard the vibrations from here.
Didn't say JavaScript.
Yeah. So I'm taking... I'm taking the role of trying to I don't know, lift it up because you put it down so much. So one of these days I'm going to be a JavaScript developer. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be that.
So I've heard.
What have you heard?
You have a degree, if you can call it that. I'm assuming that's an okay translation in Java development.
Java, not JavaScript.
That's true.
Java, VB, and C++. And BASIC.
Hey, why not? Why not?
Actually, and you claim that you don't remember, but you helped me build a Java chat.
I have absolutely no recollection.
Yeah, I know you say that, but if we look in the code, I'm pretty sure we can forensically see that you were in that code.
So you're telling me that some of the variables is called monkey?
Probably. Probably. That's his foo. Instead of foo, he just...
But in Swedish.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That is true.
Okay, so let's take a look at what we did last time.
Yeah.
So
Stuff.
We
Did we
showed
do
live.
stuff? We did.
We already developed the live page with codingoutwork.com/live.
Yeah.
We added transcriptions.
We did do
and
that.
We added search. Now we haven't added search to the.
Well, it's not fully implemented.
No, it's not in the menu and stuff like that. We will come back to that later.
But the functionality is there.
Yeah. So I sat down and I thought, what are we doing today? And there are a couple of things that I have in my mind that I want to implement later on. Gonna do some fun stuff, I think. And we need to go WebAssembly.
It's time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that everyone needs to do that. I'm not saying that it's the best course of action for every project out there. But there are some things that I want to build later on that, hey, why not go to WebAssembly? And we said it.
So we're going to WebAssembly not because we have a need for it right now, but we might in the future because you have a secret project in your head.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's face it, we talked about right from the get-go that we were going to build the site in a way that it would be easy to go to WebAssembly.
Yep.
And we promised that we're basically going to show you how to go to WebAssembly. And
Yeah.
this is
Because now
that
we
time.
are on Blazor Server side.
Yeah, Blazor Server.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's take a look at the site, what it looks like now. And
Oh, speaking of, we have a new episode.
we do. A new podcast episode with
Yeah.
Oscar Anderson, which I don't remember the numbers now, but he's like top tier of all the
Stack Overflow.
C# tag on Stack Overflow.
He's in like the top 2 percentile or something
I thought it was-
insane
I
like
think
that.
it was even higher.
Yeah, it
but
might have been. But it is in the podcast.
Yes,
We are mentioning in the podcast.
pretty early in the episode.
Yeah.
And if you take a look here, if I go into the episode here, I start playing it. You'll see before.
Oh, it's
And what are we doing?
transcribing.
What? Before what? Before what? Tell me. Tell me now.
Before we
Okay,
start.
okay, before we start. Okay.
Why is it so slow?
Because it actually I haven't said that yet in the episode.
Oh, all right. So it's
Now
okay.
we're going.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of work we still have to do when it comes to
The transcription.
Yeah.
And trying to match that to when it's actually starting, because
Yeah.
we have the intro melody first, and that didn't transcribe well.
be bold.
Yeah.
After all.
Like, welcome to the bowling podcast.
Yeah, so we still have a lot of things.
But
to
it's
do.
pretty cool that you can see it on screen as well. Because sometimes you don't want to have your volume up very high. So that's great. I do that sometime with TikTok and Instagram. I look at the captions and I have no sound on.
And speaking of TikTok, we did. I think we did put this on TikTok as well.
Oh, the little clip?
Yeah, and we're using these captions on the clip, so that's kind of nice.
We got a lot of bang for the buck with the
Yeah.
captions. We can use
Exactly.
that for a lot of things. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so let's pop into the sprint and let's see what we're doing today.
Sprint 13.
Yeah,
Lucky number 13. Don't you usually say that?
is that a saying?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought
Oh,
13 was a bad.
It's a bad number, but I think you say lucky number. Is it, or is that 7? Some number.
So we don't have a item for this. So go WebAssembly.
What did I tell you about writing better items, backlog items?
add
Add WebAssembly. Okay, Go WebAssembly might have been better, actually. I'm sorry.
So there's a lot of things we need to do today. So I think just
That's the one.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been
And we don't really need to break that down into smaller items since our sprint is literally 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And I would spend a couple of hours today to figure out exactly what steps that I need to do today. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on. So
That makes sense.
I think that is going to be just fine. Okay, so let's take a look at, let's close down a little bit here. Why is this one edited? There we go. And we're going to close all the tabs, minimize this. So, okay, so we have 3 projects right now. We have coding after work, we have coding after work components, and we have coding after work tests.
Yeah.
Now, what I think we're going to build, what I know what we're going to build, is we're going to keep the server functionality and we're going to add WebAssembly.
Okay.
So
we're not scrapping the server part completely.
when we're done, this project is going to have a working Blazor server and a working Blazor WebAssembly. And then we can publish whatever we want.
Okay.
Maybe we'll publish both of them and you can compare and see what happens and what
That would be
happen.
interesting.
So what we're going to do, we're going to create a folder, new solution folder. So this only is present in the Solution Explorer. Let's call it Blazor Server. That's not what I said. Blazor Server. And that's the Blazor, the coding of the work project. So that's only the Blazor server project.
Okay. So it's just so it's going to look a little bit nicer.
Yeah. So that we know what projects
Yeah,
are
and it's
involved.
because the naming is just coding after work.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So let's add a new project. And this project is going to be not React.
Is it going to be WebAssembly?
Blazor WebAssembly app. Let's name it coding after work dot WebAssembly.
See, you know how to name stuff sometimes.
Oh, you're gonna regret.
I said sometimes.
And so we have data. We have podcasts, we have YouTube, we have Twitch, and all of those things, we don't want to put them in the WebAssembly app. We want to have them on a server side. So we want to create an API.
So why don't we want to put it in WebAssembly? And can you do that?
We could. But the effect of that is, first of all, we need to supply the API key. And that's going to be downloaded in the browser.
Oh, that's not very... Well, it's not recommended.
No, and it's possible to decompile. So I get a lot of questions like, is WebAssembly secure? You can download the source, right? And you can decompile it. Yes, you can.
So don't put your secrets there.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
So that's one reason. The other reason is, that's for YouTube. When it comes to our MP3s and our podcast, we can do one call to Libsyn, cache that, and then supply that to our clients. Clients in this case being the web clients. And if we, let's say, have 100 visitors to our page, that would be 100 calls to the API, because all the code in WebAssembly lives inside of the browser. So that's why we want a server side as well, because we're gonna get that from Libsyn, cache that, and supply the cached result.
So we
back
only
the
need to
client.
go to the server instead of doing the call completely all the way back 100 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're doing
So we
100.
get the data once and then we send it the short way.
Yeah, exactly.
The rest of the way. Okay.
And
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
makes sense.
for on an RSS feed that might not be important, but we might want to change the data a little bit and all of that stuff. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to click ASP.NET Core hosted. So then we're going to get 3 projects. So let's do that. Let's create that. We might want to add a progressive web application at some point, but
Let's save that for now.
Yeah.
One thing at a time.
So what we're getting here is we're getting 3 projects. We're getting one client, which is a WebAssembly version. Got a server, which is
The WebAssembly server. Or is that the server?
No, that's the server for the WebAssembly project.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that's kind of confusing. What is the difference?
So the
How do you know that?
The client is going to be the everything that is downloaded to the browser.
Yeah.
The server is going to be the ASP.NET project that is supplying the WebAssembly files.
Yeah.
So when you start a WebAssembly project, when you debug it, you're going to start the server project.
Right.
Because you need to have that running to get
the
to
data.
The API.
Yeah.
And then we have a shared project, which in this case only contains the weather forecasts.
And that's the default example you get
Exactly.
when you start the
app.
app.
We're going to take a look at that in just a minute. Let's start with creating a new solution folder, calling this one Blazor WebAssembly. No, apparently not. There we go.
It's not a good spelling day.
It never is. It never is. So like that. So we have Blazor Server, we have Blazor WebAssembly, and all of those 3 projects. And then we're going to have a shared components and tests. So let's run the Blazor Server one just briefly here and see that everything works as expected.
And with Blazor Server, you mean the WebAssembly server?
Yes.
Just making sure I'm with you.
And that's where things get a little bit complicated when you talk about Blazor WebAssembly, because you run the server. Oh, it's server. No, it's WebAssembly.
But it's not the server. It's the other server.
So the counter works just as the server version does. The fetch data is going to do a call back to the server, get a JSON file, and then get that back to the browser. So if you take a look here just briefly in the, let's see here where that is. It's in here, I believe. The fetch data, it's actually doing a HTTP call back to weather forecast. And if we take a look at the server version,
the WebAssembly server. I'm sorry, I'm going to do that all the time.
we have a weather forecast controller, which has the route for that is the controller name, which is web forecast, and not without or without the controller. It's getting a little bit tricky when working with these kinds of things. And the get method here, when we send a get command with HTTP, it's going to return the weather information. Okay, great. So,
but we're not interested in the weather,
aren't we?
Well, it's currently snowing, so no. It's really cold.
Not interested.
No.
So what we want to do is we want to create. We want to move files around. That's what we want to do. So let's create a couple of other projects here. I'm going to create one new project. I'm going to call this is a class library. C# class library seems reasonable. And we're going to call this coding after work.data.
Right. So that's where we're
6.
putting the YouTube and Twitch and whatever stuff we need to get the data from.
The Poco objects. Poco objects. The Pocos, maybe.
And can you...
I could if I remembered what it stands for. Something CLR objects. I was afraid that you're gonna ask me.
Plain old class object. There we go. There we go. Well, it's better to be clear, isn't it?
So we got a project, coding after work data. We also need another one. So let's add another one. New project. Want us to be class object as well. I'm going to call that coding after work dot services.
So that's another library.
Yes. Still want .NET 6. And we get a class for free here. We did that in the previous project as well, but I was kind of quick with deleting it. So there we go. So now we have two new projects, coding after work data and coding after work services. So data is where we will have our Poco objects, and services is where we're going to have all the code that gets the data. Because we want to share the objects with the client side, the WebAssembly code. We want to share it with the server side, both WebAssembly server and the Blazor server.
Yeah, the naming gets a little bit confusing. So, yeah.
I have no better way of sorting this out.
No. And that's why I keep repeating the server names.
So let's go into, so we have our coding after work .components. And in there we have something called services.
Yeah, and this is our Blazor server project.
No, this is our components project. So this is the one that we are supposed to be sharing.
Okay, got it. You want to share this?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So we have our content service, which is the one that gets all the data. We have a couple of enums and our YouTube video and search item and all of that stuff. So we're going to take these, we're going to cut them out, and we're going to put them in the data project, like that.
That's what you needed to do?
Oh, we're not done yet.
It's not that magic?
Not that magic. So as you can see, we did add the content service to the data project. Why do we have the services then? Well, we're not done yet.
Okay.
So what we want to do is we need to add a couple of things. We need to add, let's see here, we don't need to add that to this project. So what we need to do is we need to get that content service, press Control dot, extract interface, and we're going to create an interface for the service, like that. So this is a way to be able to say that I want an iContent service, but I don't care about how this is implemented. So in the case of the WebAssembly project, we're going to get an API client that's going to do API calls. And in the case of the server one, the Blazor server one, we're going to get this one, the content service that's going to get all the data. But it's going to be hopefully clearer in a while.
Hey, look, chat room is going crazy. Hey, welcome everyone. We are going from Blazor server side to Blazor WebAssembly. Yes. Or we want to be able to share everything in between.
So the next step is going to be that we're going to take the content service, copy or cut that out, and put that in the coding-after-work.services instead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's actually named pretty good here, coding-after-work.services. That's fine.
Hey, Stacy.
We're gonna add.
Oh, I need to watch that later. Stuff is happening. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Okay, what are we adding? Sorry, I got distracted by the chat room. My attention span. I can do one thing at a time.
So what we're doing, the services need to have access to the data classes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Add that one there. So now we have lots of red squigglies, and you love the red squigglies.
I do love the red squigglies. Well, actually, solving them is better.
So let's take a look. That's control dot that, and it says, oh, install the package extensions HTTP. Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, that is my absolute favorite Visual Studio thing. Keyboard shortcut, control dot.
Configuration, install the package, find the latest and install. That's fine. That's great.
I like how they help you.
Yeah, we have a little bit of Google APIs.
Imagine life without the red squigglies.
What is this horrible thing you're talking about?
I don't know. Compiler says something is wrong somewhere. Go fish. That's how I feel. That's how I feel every time. And that's also why I do control dot. And then come get you.
That's a lot of problems.
It does. It does.
Okay,
so
let's
what are we doing?
Take a look here. I need to do a little bit of cheating here because I need to find out what packages we're supposed to add.
We love packages.
Actually, we're going to do it even simpler here.
Oh, yeah?
We're going to pop into this project. We're going to grab this line. We need
and that's
Google
where
APIs.
Yeah, the Google API, right.
Let's move things around here because we're going to need all of these packages here. So this is, you shouldn't type code if you don't have to.
At least if you type like you do.
Hey.
You're not the best typer.
So we need subtitles parser, we need YouTube APIs, and we need iCal for the Twitch.
Right, the Twitch schedule we have on the page. So for those of you who don't know what page we're talking about, we have a codingafterwork.com where we just did a file new, trying to get it up on Blazor. And we did that server side, and now we are trying to add some WebAssembly magic.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got all of those good stuff in there. Let's see if the red squigglies are gone.
Almost.
So what are you saying? So it's saying, oh, it doesn't match calendar. But we're going to do a little bit of magic here. Let's see in which order we should do this.
I like magic.
You do?
I do. Well, not the card trick magic. The Visual Studio magic. When it thinks for me and helps me and add AIs and...
More AI to the people.
Control plus dot is magic. I know, right? Also control space. I mean, keyboard shortcuts, I would be nothing without them. That is the truth.
So in the coding-after-work.data, we have something called a calendar event, and that comes from our ical.net or whatever it
that
was
we
called.
Get from the Twitch API.
Actually, we're getting it from an iCal from Twitch, and we're getting it using a package for that. But we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new one.
Oh, thanks for dropping by, Layla. Oh my gosh, in a dark room. That doesn't sound fun. Have fun or relax, maybe.
So we're going to create a schedule item.
Mm-hmm.
And let's
So that
copy
would be the next event.
Exactly, or a list of them. So we're going to go through, we're going to create the get search results. We want to change this a little bit. We're going to add a value task. We're going to get the value task back. And we're using value task because value task, we get a little bit of option there. So either we can just return something, or we can return a task of something.
Okay.
And it's a little bit more performant when it comes to things. So let's add a value task for this one as well. Value task. So it doesn't have to create a task. So when you create a task, it goes out to another thread and stuff happens. But with a value task, you have an option to not do that.
Okay.
And simply just return the data. And that's basically what we can do here because we're caching things.
Yeah,
so
right.
That's better.
Right.
Better
so
way
less
to do
work.
it. Yeah. So let's create a new class.
What is this class going to be named?
It's going to be scheduled item.
That was easy.
And look at this. What's up with this? It's creating using the old syntax.
Oh, it is.
There we go. Fixed it. Actually, I did notice that some of the things we have here is still the old syntax because.
And with old syntax, you don't mean old.
I mean the
you
syntax that we used 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know Jimmy, he is the one that goes on the beta train and puts it in production as soon as it hits alpha. So old for him is may or may not actually be general available yet. Well, you do like your beta stuff.
I do.
Yeah.
So the scheduled item is going to have a title. It's going to have a start time and an end time. I think that makes sense.
We are from the Nordics. We are from Stockholm, Sweden, where it's currently snowing and we're freezing our butts off. Well, we are.
It's true. It's all true.
We're not real Vikings. That much I can say. Okay, so in the class.
So we got a little bit of awesome things here. So let's go into the content service. So the content service is now saying, "Oh, you're not implementing all the stuff that I need and want." So let's take a look here. We have calendar event here. We're going to change that to schedule something. What did I call it? Schedule item. And we're going to go, so this one returns value task, that's fine. The search items is not returning a value task, so let's do that, value task, like that. Oops.
Now we have a lot of red squigglies.
Let's see what I'm doing wrong here, there we go. And this one wants to return a new value task, like so. Like that. I hope. Come on. Let's do it. You can do it.
Oh, you have a little bit of a green squiggly as well. Those I'm not as scared of, though.
Syntax. What am I doing wrong?
We get a Control K, Control D suggestion.
That is probably not going to solve the red squiggly, though.
Wouldn't it be cool, though?
It would be. Return new. Okay, I need to specify what type it's going to be as well. That's what I'm doing We did. There was a Swedish conference just recently, and I saw a really cool demo that the presenter was like, so I'm going to learn a new language. So he used Copilot to learn a new language. He never coded in Go before, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to do a hello world or whatever it was. That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool.
So let's take a look down here where we have the...
So we have another one. If this is C#10, you can just return new arguments.
Oh, then you might be right. Yes. Let's try that. I like that.
Because 10 is a higher number than 9.
I'm almost embarrassed if that works. It does. Thank you so much. You saved me like 1,000 letters.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
That's how it works.
Okay, so the Twitch schedule, we need to change that to a value task as well. And we need to return this.
1,000 or more like 15.
1,000.
It would
That's what I'm
have felt
going
like
with.
1,000.
It would have felt like 1,000 when I'm typing them out here on screen.
Well, actually, it would be 1,000 because he's not the best typer, so he need to redo them all the time. Sorry. So
you know I'm standing right here, right?
We're married, so it's okay. I will sleep on the couch later. It's fine.
So we're going to grab the events just as before, but instead we're going to return a, actually we're going to do it like that. We're going to return a new scheduled item. Like that. And we're going to set the title to s.summary, I believe. Let's do this. Let's break this up on more rows here.
Yeah, so we can read it. I like readable.
And we're going to add a start time.
But I would probably panic in the meanwhile because we have red squigglies.
And I'm going to do this. I'm going to say as UTC. That's just because that way we know all the we know
kind
what's
of
going
format?
on. Yeah. We can go back to the date time is pretty smart, so I don't have to do a lot of things to make this work. But
Just to be safe.
Let's just go with UTC. Now this is the cool thing. Visual Studio says, hey, you got a property called end. We got an s.end. Yes, that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, I love it when it does that. I recently noticed that Outlook is doing the same. While I was typing, I got the grace thingy suggestion so I can just press tab.
That's pretty cool.
Yes. Write the emails for me so I don't have to.
So this method is still returning calendar event. We wanted to return schedule item instead. And that's it.
Oh, this is a good anecdote. So Tyndall had a colleague who lived by having code files that fit on one single screen. All the projects he touched were a huge amount of files, and all of the files were basically Greek because he used every shorthand in the book. Yeah, sometimes being clear isn't being clear.
And when you have those kinds of rules, it's like, could I tilt the screen? So,
Oh, that's good. That's good.
There's always a solution.
Yeah. A little bit of cheating.
Okay.
I mean, ingenuity. Smart move. Yeah, right?
So let's see here what we got now.
Oh,
So
that's why you want the huge TV that swivels. Got it.
So we got a new file. We got a little bit of things going on here. We got the new changed service.
Is it still bothering you?
It seems to be schedule item. Oh, right, because we need to add a namespace.
So again, control dot.
Control dot makes all your problems go away.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if this compiles.
If I had known that back in the day, it would have saved me days of trying to figure out a video tutorial. So the speaker was actually doing that and didn't let me know. So yeah, and then you come home and just control that and everything is solved.
Yep.
I was bitter.
That's how I do it.
Yeah. And
So
then I ate chocolate.
The components library, so we moved everything out from the components
Right.
library.
Right.
So the components library says, what the heck is this? I don't have no idea what this is.
Mm-hmm.
So we can remove the services folder completely, and now we can add a project reference. So in this case, we can just add data, like that. So now the squiggly lines should disappear.
Any second now.
There we go. They're gone. Let's see here. Let's. I think we're gonna make the server-side project work first. So let's take a look at. So the server project. Actually, the component project, we're still in all the logic and fun stuff is in the coding-after-work.components.
Mm-hmm.
But now it says that, hey, content service, where's that? We don't have that anymore. We threw that away. So what we can do here is instead, we can use the interface. So we can say iContent service instead.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go through a couple of files here. Let's see, we don't have anything in about. We have it in the episode because we're getting episodes. We have it in episodes. So we're going to do that instead.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to have the content service that we already had changed that one. We don't have it on the live page. We do have it on the search. We don't have it in the sponsor page. We do have it on the video. No,
There's a lot of copy pasting going on here.
Yeah.
And we do have a question which will... are you thinking about testability? We have a test project.
Here's the test project done. That's all,
the
right?
extent of the testing we are doing currently.
Yeah. I am thinking about testability, yes, but let's just say I could be better.
And we are working through some issues. Like we have been better. We are getting better at naming things, especially in the backlog, because do stuff. You don't remember what stuff is 2 weeks later. We have learned that the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
And testability, yes, we put up. That was one of the first thing we did, the test project. But we, I think we need to re-invite someone to help us with that, so we can they can force us to be better at that. Maybe we should ask Eagle to come on and work with us.
Yeah. What did you do? No.
Yeah.
But
To do this doesn't work. Make it work. Yeah, exactly.
that's pretty much what we're doing.
Yeah. We
So-
should be better.
Let's see if this compiles now.
But we were also in desperate need of rewriting the page because it was not good.
Yeah.
The one we had.
So in our index page, we're getting Twitch schedule.
Right.
And now we changed what it returns. So now we need to change that as well.
Of
we need
course. So it
we need to
reflects
say
that.
the end is bigger than date type now, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the type that is returned is
It's
not
changed.
the same.
Yeah.
So let's see here what's going on here. Okay. The content service. Okay. So we need to change the type here as well. It's now a schedule item.
Are we looking at just dates or actual time as well? We are looking at time as well.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a new date, only data type. Yeah, so
I have issues with that naming. So it's called only date and only time.
Yeah.
Instead of, well, date could be there and date time could be both.
Yeah, I know. They name things like we do, but better still. I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting. I think it's just to differentiate them from the old ones.
Yeah. Okay, so this one is it still bothering me?
So we're actually getting, while you are searching for that, we are getting the time as well. So when we a couple of streams ago, we tried out the live page we have if we're live on stream, but we went over time. So the live page, we were trying to fix it, but nothing was wrong. It was just that it wasn't scheduled for that time.
Yeah.
So we found out the hard way. So now we know. So definitely we're checking time as well.
Let's take a look at index page here. I know that you don't see what I'm talking about. So we need to change, this one said summary before, we need to change it to title. We need to add time zone.
So we just need to convert to whatever we changed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna time zone info, convert time, send in the start time.
We have another one, to local.
That might actually work when it comes to. Interesting. That might work with WebAssembly.
Right.
That's an interesting suggestion. Let's do it this way, and we can try it. Try that.
Let's make it work and then try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're saving it as UTC, right?
Time zone info. So let's find.
Did somebody say WebAssembly? Hi, guy. We did. So we are moving. Well, not moving, but we are converting most of our page now to WebAssembly from Blazor Server. Just because we can, and because Jimmy has some sort of idea that he will not share with me for the future. And in the future, we need to use that.
There we go. And we want to show the time zone name as well. So we're converting the time, the start time, and we're getting the time zone name, and we're getting it just as before from JavaScript. Okay. So we're not going to be able to use to local time because using WebAssembly, that might work, but the code in here is going to run on the server as well.
Right.
So we need something a little bit more elaborate for that.
Ooh, someone is going web forms to Blazor.
Okay, so why is
that sounds
this
like a
one
little fun
still
though?
Red. Schedule item to list of schedule item. INumerable, but it says to list. Do I have? Okay, I have parentheses too much, I believe.
Isn't that kind of funny how one little dot or parentheses
that's
can mess up?
Right? Let's see what we got here. Okay, so we got a little bit. We changed that to value task a couple of times. Right. So this one is now awaitable. So let's add await. Let's do an async here. Let's do a task actually because that's nicer. So let's see here. Let's compile. Still got some problems here. It can't find the content service. Mm-hmm. And now we're back in the Blazor Server project.
The server?
The server project.
Just making sure.
So we removed the content service from our components. Yeah. So we don't have any reference to that anymore. So in here we can add a project reference. And we can add that to the services.
Okay, so we moved it out to the services, and now we can just reference that instead of actually having it that.
Exactly.
That's nice. That's nice.
So now we got that back. But what we're going to do here is that we're going to say, so all our files are saying, if I ask for an content service, then I want you to use a content service. Mm-hmm. So I need to say here that if I ask for an content service, give me back a content service.
Okay.
So let's build this and see if, nothing failed.
We got another suggestion. You can remove the async there and just return instead of awaiting. Otherwise, you run the risk of starting up a thread just to start another thread.
Where?
You were just saying we could add await in the server, right? You were just there.
Let's go back to that.
Let's look at it. Yeah.
So let's go setup start project. Let's run this.
Train of thought and everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, will it blend? No, run. I mean run. No, it will not.
So what's going on? Here, there. Let's turn off these guys. Oh, right. This is actually.
Did you just point to your computer?
Yes. This is actually a great learning opportunity. So no process associated with this object. Mm-hmm. What is wrong? So now we can check here.
So, we cannot read anything of that. At least not.
Let's see if I can fix that. Properties, perhaps? Oh, look at that. No cursor size. I want
text
font size.
Yes.
Give me 28.
I can probably handle that. I can handle that.
It's always fun to work on a presenter computer. It's like everything is huge fonts.
Nothing fits the screen.
So what's going on here is that, first of all, it says that we have a service that doesn't work anymore. Mm-hmm. That's basically what it says. It's trying to figure out what service we are instantiating. Mm-hmm. And if we look here in program, you'll see that we have a minimal API here, mm-hmm. and we're saying content service. And we don't have that anymore.
Right.
We can only use iContent service. So if I change that to iContent service, and I'm running this again, you will see another error message, I believe. No, this one should work. Sorry. Right.
Okay. So you just forgot to change it in one place.
Yeah. Mm. So we're not getting any streams. So why aren't we getting any streams?
Yeah, that's odd because there is one scheduled for right now.
Could be. Let's see here. I think I might need to convert to UTC as well.
Didn't we do that?
I didn't do it in the index page. Let's try that and see if it works.
Yeah.
So time is. I'm very lucky that I'm working with a Swedish company, so I don't have to think about time zones.
Yeah.
So let's see here.
It's always interesting. Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
So down, where is it? Here. So we're saying end time should be bigger than now. Let's convert this to UTC as well. I think it should be working.
It was a Doctor Who reference. Oh, thank you. And I know Stacy approves.
There we go.
Look at
So
that. There's a stream now.
And if I still have that
Weeping Angels. Don't get me started. Yeah, exactly. Don't blink.
So we got a server thing.
Server,
so
yeah.
The Blazor server is still working.
It's still working. Yeah. Because we wanted to be able to use them.
Yeah. So the next thing we want to do, we want to move the CSS as well. So let's do that here as well. So I'm going to take the CSS from the server and just move it into the components folder instead, like that. So now, if I run the server project, everything should be looking really good.
What did you do?
You broke it!
Who? What was that?
We're also gonna, let's see here, gonna take, where is that? No, it's in here. We're gonna take the shared folder, and we're gonna move out the main layout as well. We're gonna take the share folder, copy that one out, and put it in the shared project. Like that. And let's pop in, and you'll see that nav link is blue, and we got some green squiggly lines saying that this might be a component. Are you sure? I am sure, because we need to add the routing namespace here as well. So we got that sorted. And now we need to go into the pages folder, our host file. No, our layout file. I never learned. And we need to refer to the CSS in the components library instead. So underscore component, content slash coding after work dot components slash.
Right. So we can find the CSS again.
Yeah. So this should theoretically not work, apparently. Okay, so
Not at this point.
Yeah, so it's saying that coding after work dot shared isn't found.
Okay.
That's true, because we don't have that anymore.
Right. And I guess that's to be expected, that you missed one renaming here and one conversion there, and forgot to remove something when you are moving that much stuff from one place to another.
And the same thing goes for the app.razor. It can't find main layout anymore, because it's now coding after work components shared, because I moved it. So let's see if it builds. It builds. That's not how you run it. There we go.
While it's building, that's a URL. Isn't there any IntelliSense on that? Well, sometimes you get IntelliSense, sometimes you don't. It's gotten better, though.
Yeah. So it
gotten
still
way
works.
better.
About us, YouTube, got some YouTube content,
Mm-hmm.
podcasts. That's slow.
It's
These images
very
are
slow.
like
Oh yeah, we need to.
1400 times 1400.
Yeah.
Got some sponsors.
Hey, we have another one. Should those usings end up in the underscore imports?
They probably should.
Mm-hmm. Fritz, always a good stream when you see his mug. Yeah. Great person.
We should definitely move those into imports. Don't have to, if it's.
But it's nicer.
Yeah, but
So can you explain what that actually is?
So imports, let's see here. What is going to happen when you compile? It's going to take imports and just going to slap them together. It's going to take the Razor file, convert it to C#, and it's going to take the using, slap those together, and then compile it, basically. That's what's happening. So everything you put in here is going to be in every single Razor file you have.
Okay. So if we are using something more than once, we should definitely put it in here.
Yes. And in the case of shared, we're actually only using it in the app.razor.
So it's shared?
Okay, so we got the server working. Let's see if we can get the WebAssembly version working.
That would be great, because that's kind of our mission today.
Kind of the goal. Kind of the goal.
That's the only backlog item we have for today, at least.
Pressure.
I'm really going to need to sleep on the couch, aren't I?
So when it comes to the APIs, we need an API. We need to be able to get the data. So let's create an API. Let's do it like here or something. I'm going to take a sneak peek into my notes here. If I can find them. Where are your notes?
Doesn't matter how many nice notes I write, I still get lost in them.
I cannot for the life of me.
We need an API. That's what we need.
Oh, there it is. something API.
Yes.
So what we're going to do, we're going to steal some code. We're going to go into our program, our server program.
The server.
Server. We're going to grab that. And we're going to go back to our WebAssembly server.
No, WebAssembly server, not server.
So we're going to have an API clear cache. That's the same thing we got in the server project. We're going to put in an iContent service. Now, I don't think we have a dependency on that. So we're going to add a program reference. And we're going to add the services.
Okay.
So the services has a reference to the data project. So we don't need to add the data project as well. We're just going to add the services. That way we're going to get the data project as well.
Okay.
So if I control dot that thing, coding after work dot services, yes, I want to add those.
I can't quite place when API turned into packages and RPC turned into APIs. There you go.
So let's copy this one. And so I'm thinking we're going to get episodes.
Yes, that would be great.
I just want to be a little bit clear.
Oh,
I want to call it API.
Okay.
And then I want to call
API as in episodes.
Episodes. So when we call API/episode, we're going to get all the episodes back.
Okay. Yep.
We don't need a password because this is public information. We don't need a config. So let's remove that.
I think you got an extra G on the service.
That is what I'm going to call it now. It's its name.
It's a service G.
So what we can do here is that we're going to say return. We're going to do that. No, we're going to not want to do that. Not this time. I'm like, so Visual Studio is suggesting this one. Is this right? Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Getting like imposter syndrome.
Sometimes it's so spot on, even if you're doing the most obscure thing that there's no way Visual Studio knew you were going to do that. And sometimes it's just like, no, this is not what I'm doing.
So the API looks like this. So we are injecting the iContent service. And the iContent service in this case is going to be the same iContent service that we injected when we created the server project, but because we're still on the server here, right?
Right.
We're not in the WebAssembly world. So up here somewhere.
Code analysis is insane in 2022. Yes.
Yes.
So just checking, get episodes isn't async. You need to be on our stream all the time.
So here's the thing.
It was a question. They did say just checking.
Yeah. And you are wrong. Or basically, I'm wrong. The naming is wrong.
The naming is wrong.
So it is an async.
Again, we're getting back to not being great at naming.
It is an async method, and it should be called async at the end. I have no excuses.
It was a yes or no question. I tried.
It's bad. I need to go through it again. So the problem is that at work we did a decision that we said that no method for the method that we create, we're not going to add async because we're going to assume that everything is async.
Right.
So it's more like every method that is not async is going to be called not async. Now we're not doing that.
Oh, so you're doing what you didn't like with a date because it's the only date, and you are saying not async. Oh.
But the thing is that we're not having we don't have any methods that is not async.
No, but still. But returning the async method doesn't await it, right? I think it will go boom.
Yes, we're going to come back to that.
Okay.
I'm not entirely done.
You are in agreement 100%. So everything should be assumed to be async unless otherwise specified.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need a not async. That's a new naming convention.
Yeah. So we're adding a singleton here. Mm-hmm. The iContent service, and so when I ask for iContent service, I'm going to get the content service back, right?
Right.
Let's see here.
We are having a bit of a fun time in the chat because now it's just going to be called sync, not async.
I kind of like it.
Yeah. Oh, we can start a band. It's like the NSYNC, but no, I just dated myself. Right.
Everyone
Okay.
in the chat, who is that? What's
Yeah.
that?
You know that cover they had made a cover 2 times over? That's the one.
So we also need to add an HTTP client because the content service needs one.
Yes. I remember that one.
So you're absolutely right. So we need to add an async here, and we need to add an await here, and we need to rename that method. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to regret not renaming it now, aren't I? So we also have videos, so let's add videos. This one is called get videos. And it's also an async method without the async.
So it's assumed async?
So what I usually do is when I do open source project like this one, I do follow the naming convention with adding the async. Apparently, this didn't make it into the final version here.
Excluded. Yeah.
So I definitely need to go back.
But we have a few other things we need to work on, and we said that from the beginning. We will probably rewrite a lot of stuff, and we also need to go in and comment stuff so we know what it is, and especially the CSS, because it's a mess right now. It works, but it could be better.
Now, this is one of the things that I really enjoy with...
Can you scroll up a little?
I can.
Thank
I
you.
know exactly how to do that. This is one of the things that I really like with the minimal APIs, because I can add curly braces, say search item, and then I can just add search item in here. So I can
And with
say
search
string,
item, you mean search term.
Search term.
Right.
Search. So I need to name it the same, and it's just gonna figure this out. So okay, this search term is the same as that search term. There is like get from the body or something like that. Same thing with service, get from I don't even know what, but it figures it out. So I don't have
That's
to
nice.
that.
We have another suggestion. You can write this.
Yeah, not gonna do that.
Not?
Yeah.
No?
So let's see. I get search
Told you we were
result
having fun in the
and
chat.
Search term, like that.
Okay.
So now we have the API done. Hopefully.
That's nice. So we can get stuff.
We can get stuff. Now we're going into the client. I'm going to do stuff. So with the client, we have the route view. And in the route view, we can specify you should get all the routes inside of this project and in another project if you want to. And we have that in our Blazor server. So in here, we are saying additional assemblies. We're going to get the assembly name of where codingofwork.components.index is. And that's, we can use the exact same code down here.
Stacy is saying that is so much nicer than lots of controllers.
Yes, agreed.
That's why you do it. Cool.
So we can say, did I put that in the right place? I didn't do that, did I? Need to cheat again. Let's see, where am I putting that? I'm putting it on the router. So our app here, I'm putting it on the router up here. So here I can specify additional assemblies. And I'm saying codingofwork.component.index, but can't find that one because we haven't added that yet. So let's add a project reference to our components.
So you can have a single API controller with a bunch of route attributed functions though, but this is simpler.
Yes. So I thought that minimal APIs meant that I wouldn't have the same freedom, but that's not the case.
Like it's restricted APIs. Yeah.
You can only do so much.
A minimal amount of things.
Exactly. But this is super convenient. It's you don't. I mean, if you're doing a control, you need to have a constructor. You need to pull everything in from the dependency injection. Here you can do it per method, which is, I really love that.
Simplicity is good.
Yeah. Okay, so I've added an additional assembly. So I'm going to have the server running. So I'm going to run this, and I'm assuming everything is going to blow up.
And now we're running the WebAssembly server.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just see if I'm on track still.
That's good. So everything breaks.
Yeah.
Which is
You were
by
expecting
design
that.
at this point. So we're going to check the console. So what is going on here?
We don't know because we can't see. But you can read for us.
I can do that. So it says object reference not set to an instance of an object. And the error is in the router. Could there be something in the router? I actually think maybe the error message. No.
And when you're doing it like you're doing now, where all the logic is in a service and the endpoint is just that, an endpoint that maps into the service, this is, well, a purple heart. Also, a lot easier to test. I think someone is trying to say something.
Okay, so I will add tests, I promise.
We might need to invite someone to whip us into doing that.
To shape.
Yeah, exactly.
So the pages we have here by default.
Right.
One of them is index, and it has a one single slash. And we already have that in our components, so everything is going to break. So we're going to remove the pages folder. Like so. I'm going to take a look at the shared folders. So in the shared, we have main layout. We already have that in components.
Right.
Nav menu, we're not using that. And survey prompt, we're not using that either. So let's remove those as well.
You're deleting stuff?
I know, it's awesome, right?
It kind of is.
And I'm gonna go into our pages here, our host. No, still not the host, the layout. I'm gonna copy this one because it's
We
fast.
need the CSS.
So in WebAssembly, the underscore host is actually called index.html.
Okay.
And it has an app.css, so just gonna replace that one. And it has Bootstrap. So what do we think about Bootstrap?
Ooh.
What do we want to do with Bootstrap?
Delete!
Delete!
Exterminate! Oh, you're deleting stuff without doing a git commit first. Yeah, we're not, sorry.
I don't want to commit things that I don't want to have.
No! Yeah, Bootstrap and I have a not good relationship.
It's not that bad.
Don't tell me you're getting rid of jQuery too. It's not that bad. I had 22,000 rows of code. And I just wanted to change one thing on the page. I wanted to make it bolder.
Boulder.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Boulder go
Yeah,
where no man has
exactly.
gone. No.
Who's gonna strap my boot now? I don't know. You need to manually do it. Yeah, you did mention you're still working on the web form projects, but hey, you are going to convert them to Blazor, so there's that.
So now we're creating a folder called shared. And in that folder, we're going to add a content, come on, service, API client, I'm calling this. No, apparently not. There we go. So content service API client. So our WebAssembly project is going to have a client that is going to call our APIs.
Right.
And it's going to look exactly the same like the content service interface-wise. Because the files we're sharing are assuming we're going to get an iContent service.
Right, right. That's the one you changed earlier.
Yeah. And this is actually...
It's what you want to do?
No, almost. Darn close. Okay, so I want to implement the iContent service. Add that one and implement that one. There we go. So we're going to have an API client that looks exactly like the client, the content service. Same methods, same return types, and all of that. So I'm going to create an iHTTP client factory. That's exactly what I want to do. And I want to name it that. That's fine.
That's nice.
I can do that.
Well, if Visual Studio is helping you naming things, maybe we know what it is later.
We can create a client name. I will come back to that in a minute. I'm going to call this API client. Like that. Actually, I don't want a big capital C. There we go. Okay, so the episodes. Actually, we need to create a. We need to dependency inject these things as well. There we go. And I want a HTTP factory. That's fine.
You're just tabbing your way through the code, aren't you?
And so what we have here is that we're injecting an HTTP client factory, and we want to return. So we're going to say using var. So this is going to create a HTTP client, just not those two words.
Okay. No.
And then it's going to dispose it when it's done. So we can say client equals underscore HTTP client, create client, and we're going to create a client that we call the client name. And we will come back to what that means in a minute. And we're going to return, and we're going to wait the client dot get. I think I need to spell this with the right capitalization. No, from JSON async.
Are you sure you should await that?
Yes. And we are expecting back a list.
Is it the episodes?
Of podcast episode. And
instead of getting rid of the async keyword. This is the async show today. Or sync, maybe. That was a better word for it.
So what we're doing here is that we are making a call, HTTP call, to /API/episodes, and we're getting back a list of podcast episodes.
Seems reasonable.
I know, right? And we're going to do that exact same thing with the search results. In this case, we want to add a little bit of the search term as well. So let's bring that one in here.
Hey, in general, if you're waiting on the last line, you usually don't need to wait. Well, there's an exception to that rule. If you got multiple different returns,
Fair enough.
Things get complicated. We don't like complicated.
So you're saying that I should do like this instead?
Just remove the async keyword and return without awaiting the task. Let's try it. Walk on the wild side. Oh, value task.
That doesn't seem to be...
It does not agree with you.
Studio agrees with me. Let's do it.
Yeah, the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, we can revisit that.
Yeah,
later on.
I think it was an oopsie here. So close.
So we are
so close.
Returning. So why is this red and squiggly?
Because it's holiday time?
Perhaps. Await can only be used. Okay, this isn't the sync. I need to make that a sync. There we go. And this Twitch schedule is looking kind of the same.
Imagine that.
But instead of this, it's called schedule.
But you could spell that correctly, so it's actually easier for the code to find it. There you go.
And what do we have? We have a schedule item, right? Like that. And this needs to be a sync as well.
Okay. How much of a pain should I be? Go ahead. We may or may not implement it. Okay. Take you to 11. There you go.
So what we're doing here is that we are getting the videos as well, right?
Yeah.
Now the reset, we're going to leave not implemented because I don't want a client to reset the server. Could have it to reset the server, but we don't have that implemented that way, so we're just going to leave the reset. Awesome.
So did you want to hear the pane
Sure.
taken to 11? Value task is good because the tasks end up on the heap. So if you have, for example, an int, you're returning an int you're returning, it'll speed up the unwinding. But since you're returning a complex object that's not a struct, task is the better option.
Okay. So from what I understand, and I might absolutely be wrong, is that if you're returning something that you're not using a task for, it's better to use value task. And in this case, I agree, that would be a task would be a better solution. But for the content service, we are caching things, so that's one option is just to deliver back the cached items, so there's no await involved.
Right.
And in this case, I agree, task would be a better option. But in the content service that has the same API or the same interface,
right.
I think value task has a value.
Oh, but that's interesting because then you know when you should do what.
So if we take a look at, again, I can be wrong. I just saw a video on YouTube. Let's take a look here. The service. So in here,
I like these discussions.
You see that if videos is null, we're doing some API calls and stuff like that. But if it's not, we're just returning the videos straight away without any async being involved.
Right.
Again, I might be wrong.
Well, YouTube is never wrong, so you're probably right. Nothing on internet is false.
It's true.
That's how it works.
Okay, so
now we have all the stuff, or we can get all the stuff.
I think we do have a lot of stuff at least.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got our components
right.
that are expecting an iContent service. But in the WebAssembly project, the WebAssembly project don't know anything about an iContent service at this point, or at least it doesn't know how to instantiate one. So what we can do here...
Dukasoft is on my side. Interesting talk. They never used value task before either. Yeah, I like those discussions.
Let's copy this one because apparently I can't type right now.
Well, right now.
So we're going to add a service. And when I ask for an iContent service, let's see if I can get a little bit more intelligence there. So if our components are running inside a WebAssembly and ask for an iContent service, we want to get back an content. Come on. Content service API client instead. So we got the same interface, but this content service goes through an API instead.
Okay, so we have more feedback on the task versus value task. Task will return the reference from the heap. Value task will return the value unwound from the stack, from what I understand. So the value task value will be copied, I think. But now I'm lost, so I don't know. Same interface for both server-side and client is awesome, though.
We apparently need to read up on value task.
Yeah, yeah.
Out. So
well, both of them works, but it's an interesting discussion. Sorry, go ahead again.
So now we're adding an HTTP client.
Yes.
This one we're saying API client. We're calling it API client. That's the name of the service.
Mm-hmm.
And when it instantiates that client, we want it to let's call it client, and we want to give that client. Exactly this one.
Stacy is providing the URLs for where we can read up on that later. Thank you, Stacy.
Let's see here. We need to do it like that. So what we're saying here is that when we create an HTTP client named API client, so that when the factory in this case creates a client called from so you can have different configurations. So in this case, you might want to have the API client has authentication. So we could add authentication to that particular client. So that's why I named it. That's an easier way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, in our case, we don't need authentication. We're not going to add that to the equation, but we're going to say that. So the base address is going to be builder host environment base address, which is going to be localhost : something or codingoftwork.com.
Yeah.
When we're releasing this.
Okay, so just to come to some conclusion here, quote from Stacy's link, this means it can be returned from a sync method, and if that method completes synchronously and successfully, nothing need to be allocated. So I was wrong and feel bad. No, you should not. You should not feel bad. This was a really good discussion.
It was.
Apparently, we didn't know enough about it.
So I have squiggly lines. Why do I have squiggly lines?
Because they're pretty.
Because I don't. So there we go.
That's not why.
So I think we might be.
Really?
I don't know.
Are we ready?
I'm not sure. I'm sure that we are ready to run it.
At least run it.
So
if
the shared components in this case is going to ask. No.
There you go.
It's going to ask for a content service.
Right.
And in the case it's running on the Blazor server, it's going to get the content service, which is getting all the data from the server, from YouTube, from Libsyn, from whatever. And in the case of running in WebAssembly, it's going to get the service that is going to the API instead.
Right, right. Pretty nice that you can just switch them out like that.
Mm-hmm. So these errors, it's a little bit tricky when we're running. So these are adding namespace require restart of the application.
We can't hear you when you speak like that, and we cannot read it.
Adding namespaces require restarting the application. So
okay, thank you.
I have crazy amount of caffeine in me right now.
I know.
Okay, so the error
and
here.
that API uses the server-side content service to call into YouTube with the same interface, right?
Yes. So
AKA awesome sauce.
Thank you. So the server, the Blazor server and the WebAssembly server is using the same content service in the backend.
That's nice.
It can't find main layout because I deleted all of that.
Oh, right.
So I need to add the namespace here as well.
Okay.
So let's see if we
You did delete that.
could not copy. So sometimes this happens, and we need to shut down things around it, the console apps.
And sometimes it just
Loading.
works. And now we get a
got an
no
error.
schedule because it was scheduled until 5 minutes ago. That's why we can't see the schedule right now. So there may or may not be a schedule.
So let's see here. We got a error 500. So list
Rewind your clock. Yes. Or can I go in and add another? No, because that's the odd thing. We have a recurring thing going every Thursday, but it doesn't pick up that as a calendar booking. You need to go in and say, this is a booking. So that's very, very odd.
So that one is working, but the other one is not working because I haven't copied my secret information.
Oh.
So I need to copy the secret information to the WebAssembly
That feels
server.
like an issue that would be easy to catch with a unit test. Thank you for calling us out.
I did test it. I am a unit. I'm a carbon-based unit.
Nerd. Which I say with love, of course.
And we need to also...
Exactly, because also nerd. Yeah, we might have dated ourselves again. Well, not really, but still.
What? Was that from Star Trek? I had no idea.
So should I talk about our wedding rings? Our wedding something?
Well, you can do that while I'm trying to find the code here.
Voyager, I know, right?
No.
It says Voyager, but I choose to read that as Voyager because if you clean it up, spoilers, like he does, it says Voyager. But yeah, we might have a thing for Star Trek. So I have the Star Trek insignia on my wedding ring, as do you. And
well, in the drawer because I'm fat.
It's the pandemic weight that has done stuff to your wedding ring. Yeah. And
it shrunk.
We also have star dates in our engagement rings. So, yeah. We may or may not have had a Star Trek wedding. Because actually, without Star Trek, we wouldn't have met.
That's true.
I was beta testing Jimmy's application. Because it was called a program back then. We had no apps back then. It was a program. And I used a Star Trek related email address. So now we're married. That's how you do. Another person, the other Swede that loves Star Trek. Okay, maybe the story wasn't exactly like that, but if we have the original series dates or next gen dates, actually we have it's the same, sort of. So we have the actual date converted to star dates, but I would say in the beginning of the original series they were a little loose with the star dates, so we have the next generation in that case. Which is a minus number because it's set in the future.
So what I did was that I added our secret settings files with the even more secret API keys for YouTube. And I added this line, so it's...
While I was distracting them.
Yes. So it's getting the information from appsettings.local.json, which is the file that I'm not checking in. For reasons obvious, I hope. So now we got podcast. We got YouTube content. And all of this awesomeness is running in WebAssembly inside of the web browser.
That is pretty cool.
About us, we got YouTube, even more YouTube content. We got some content here. We got some podcast content. What we don't have, which I'm not sure how we're going to add, but we don't have the VTT files or closed captions here.
Okay, so that's I don't remember the name for it, but it's basically the text file, and well, basically it's a XML file, not a
Actually,
SAML file.
that it's not
Sort
XML,
of. No, but it kind of resembles that because it has timestamps and it has, well,
I don't think you think that it resembles that.
no, maybe not.
There is a
I
file
tried,
that,
okay?
that is more.
So it's a file. Oh, all the other streamers show secrets.
I'm trying.
Stick around and we will dox it. Don't worry, don't worry.
At some point. So this one is running WebAssembly with the backend and all of that. And let's go into this one and see if we can switch projects here.
To the server.
Server. Let's see if we can get that up and running as well. So this is the server. Still working.
If you actually click on the on the items, it still
and you
works.
see that it kind of resembles each other.
It kind of does. It kind of does.
And the cool thing is that almost all the code is shared.
Yeah.
There's the CSS is shared now. The backend service is shared. It's getting the data the same way to the server, and in all the component files are shared.
So why can you run this WebAssembly only? If I really, really don't want to use Blazor Server.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah?
We could run it WebAssembly only, but then we would have to have all our secrets in the code.
Right, so it's
into
downloadable and we will dox all the API keys and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And speaking of that, look who's writing an extension right now that will hide all XML and JSON values when you open a file. And you will have to click a button to display them, so you don't dox yourself by mistake.
I would be happy to beta test that one.
Well, there you go. It is on GitHub.
I'm your
Nice
carbon-based unit test.
Nice name, no docs.
Kind of like MODOK. That's a TV series.
And
that is not
it's
good.
all sync because I need to make sure that the extension does its thing before Visual Studio starts rendering the file.
Smart.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you for that.
All right.
So maybe we can show the secret page without showing the secret.
I'm not going to try that now.
No, of course not. Next time.
Okay, so we got a Blazor Server project. We got a Blazor WebAssembly project. We have all the components shared, nice and easy. So if we take a look in the episode here, we got the iContent service. If you're running it on server side, it's going Blazor Server, I should say. You're going to get the file that gets all the data
from the different places.
Yeah, and in the case of WebAssembly, you're going to get the API interface, basically.
Right. So the WebAssembly never goes to Libsyn or YouTube to collect stuff.
Exactly. And it's cached on our server. We can release that whenever we want and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's good. So it's prepared for testing as well.
It is. So I want to show you
I think...
just one last thing.
What's that?
So with WebAssembly, we got ahead of time compilation.
Yes, I do like that.
But for this project, we're not going to have... The benefits of using that is not great.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing is that if the file that it's going to output is going to become much larger. And
Okay, yeah, well...
we're not doing that much in the file here, right?
Right.
In the... what the word I'm looking for? In the components, we're not looping a lot of... We got
No.
like...
No, we're
60,
just listing the stuff.
So that's the benefit of using ahead-of-time compilation there is not that great. But this is something I did earlier.
What did you do earlier? Oh, right. So Jimmy has a file new project that he tries all new fun stuff like Blazor and Silverlight when that was a thing and what have you. So his Hello World is a ZX Spectrum emulator because why not make it more complicated?
There it is.
And you have made one of those.
I have.
In Blazor.
I have. So this is my ZX Spectrum running, let's put it there, running not ahead of time. So let's start the emulator.
For crap's sake, guys, I just got my ZX Spectrum back a week ago, and I got it connected to my capture card.
Nice.
Like an actual ZX Spectrum. It's on my desk.
I have one somewhere here as well.
Yeah. I probably cleaned it over to somewhere I can find it.
So this one is 48K version. This one is the Spectrum Plus, I believe it's called. We always called it 128K here in Sweden, or at least in my family. So I'm gonna go to so the 128K or the Plus version is it's possible to run 48K games. So,
Yeah, backwards compatible.
Yeah. So I switch over to 48K. I'm gonna run the game here. So you will be able to see a little bit of speed difference here.
Yes.
Going on.
I can see that already.
So the screen on the right is a little bit rebuilt, apparently because it's running 128K version, but it's basically the same code. If anything, the 128K version should be slower.
Yeah.
Code-wise. But as you can see, there's a lot of speed difference. The one on the left runs almost real time. So for everything to work real time, it has 20 milliseconds to run all the code and render the screen, because it's updating 50 times per second.
It's insane.
Like insane.
Yeah, it is.
For a computer from that time. And on the right, we have, I think it's like 3 seconds or something like that.
So what's the difference?
Sorry, 3 milliseconds.
Why is one of them faster?
The one on the right is... Am I saying this right?
I don't know.
Yes, on your right.
So the one I'm sitting by?
Yes.
Okay.
That one is ahead of time compiled. So it's a lot faster. And funny enough, the one on the right has sound as well. So it has more complexity involved as well. But
and I have heard both of these when you have been developing that. Yeah. Sometimes it sounds iffy.
Yeah.
And I did not realize how fast this game is. Have you ever made it past this level? No? Okay.
Title, have you played Manic Miner? I cannot for the life of me.
Could I ask that you said the dev version rather than left or right?
The dev version is the ahead of time compiled version.
There you go. Trying to be clear here.
Yeah, that's
yeah, on the left, right? Wait a minute.
But
now it gets complicated.
So I'm still working on getting the sound working 100%, but
well, it
there is
sounds
sound.
pretty convincing right now compared to the other versions. I
Yeah.
remember when you did the whatchamacallit, when you scan the phone, AR version
Yeah.
for the phone. This was a bunch of years ago,
I
and
still have it on
it
my
was not fast. I mean, it took a good while for it to even load the blank start screen, but it did run. And it ran on the watch, on the smartwatch. There it is, right? Yep.
It's augmented version of the ZX Spectrum, but with the Lego rig.
Yeah. But it was anything but fast.
It was fun. I had a lot of projects like, let's see what I'm got it running on. We had it on the Agent Watch.
Smartwatch, yeah, of course.
Well, the emulator for Agent Watch, since that never made
Yeah.
it to
They,
anyone.
yeah.
Had it running on a Gadgeteer.
That was not fast either.
That one definitely not fast. We had
Silverlight? No, that was the Mango. That was the Mango, right? The HoloLens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is kind of the same as the one you just saw, but another with video.
Yeah. That's how, because why do a Hello World?
Why?
Like us
Why when you can do
regular,
all the fun stuff?
normal people.
Normal people.
Yeah.
Stuff. Let's switch back here.
And this is actually how it looks right now in Sweden, at least where we are.
Yeah.
It pains me to see a site not in HTTPS. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm working on that. It's not like it's a big task, but
you just need to get around to it.
Yeah.
Kind of like the test. It's on the to-do list, but it's kind of way down. Yeah. Sorry.
I did get HTTP for coding after work though, so that's done.
Yeah.
That works.
At least 1 point. So this was great fun. Great fun. And now we have both Blazor Server and Blazor WebAssembly.
Yeah. We'll figure out how to host that later on off stream, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard you need to host stuff to be able to actually see it. But that's cool.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot of retro gaming talk going on in chat room. So I think we triggered some stuff here.
That's good.
Yeah, we have actually started talking about doing some retro gaming on our other channel, Married Geeks, because we have kind of like the Atari 2600 and, well, of course, the Nintendo 8-bits, but maybe that's not as retro for me as to all the young people out there.
We have an Xbox 360. And
well, I think that is probably retro nowadays. But yeah, we've talked about actually picking up that sort of gaming. And I think it will be difficult because the games back then were simplistic, but difficult.
Yeah.
Definitely difficult. Hey, thank you. We have a follow.
Woohoo.
Awesome. Yeah, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Yeah, until next time.
Bye.